Hi guys, happy Saturday. I got an email after a video I did recently where I swatched out my Catherine Puller inks, the newest set, and someone had wanted to know how I do my swatches, how I actually swatch them out, and how I match those swatches to, say, a background paper. So I thought I would show you what I do and how I do it. So how I swatch my stuff out that I use most often, how I store it, and how I kind of match it up with my paper. This is completely easy. The biggest step to this is being organized. So you want to swatch out your markers. You want to have a sample of all of the papers that you buy on a regular basis, especially your cardstocks. Your paper pad, I would do the same thing. I would hold up my paper pad and match it to the color that I'm using for my cardstock and or my papers. So I'm going to real quickly show you that aspect of it. I'm going to try not to make this too long. Okay, so let's start with the way I swatch, or what I swatch with. I have two sets of alcohol markers that I go to. I've got almost the whole set of copic markers, not quite all of them. Eventually I might get the rest of them, but these are the colors that I kind of have right now. And I use two different methods to swatch them. I enjoy this hex chart from Sandy Aldock. It's on her webpage. Or on her blog, I think is what it is, or her webpage, I'm not sure. I will try to link it below. And I really enjoy the hex charts because sometimes if I'm not using a trio that I know, or like the fusions or the trios, I really get a little baffled sometimes by what colors really go together. Like, I'm pretty good at looking at the chart and saying, hey, I would really like to do, this color with this color and add it with this color, looking at it right now, I could give you an example. I completely would use G14, YG17, and I would use Y85. I think those three together would make a great combination for a dark leaf. I can do that, but sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes we're all wrong. So if I'm in a hurry or just want to go to, this chart is perfect. So I highly recommend it. So again, I've swatched out all of my markers on this, and my grays are on the opposite side, and I will use this for a reference. Now, I also do it on the regular sketch because this way, if I'm just looking for the colors that are in order here, it's that, then I can just do that. It's super easy. Yeah, I do it both ways. I like them both ways, so I swatch them both ways. So now here's the other thing I wanted to show you before I get into my other swatches. So I color them in, I put it in a page protector, and I either store it in my sample book, which is just a hot pink notebook that says sample on it. And I do that with, it's kind of thick. I do that with all of my watercolors, all of my colored pencils that I use and stuff like that, and I keep it in the book. And then when I've got projects coming up, I will pull out what you're going to see right now, and I'll hang it on the pegboard in front of my desk. Just makes it easy reference for me. I have all of those things because sometimes I will combine a marker with a pencil and blah blah blah. With my watercolors, however, I don't ever try to match my paper with my watercolor until we're done, because you add layers with watercolor and you really don't know how it's going to turn out until the final project. So I don't worry about that. Okay, so let's just say that I wanted to find something that's going to go good with this combination right here. Okay, so this is like a nice pink combination. I would first go to the paper that I would want to use. Let's say that I was working on a Simon Says stamp card, or featuring Simon Says stamps, or something like that. Then I would go for that paper, and then I would just go through. I have all of my papers on swatches, so I've got it all cut out, and then I've got a full swatch, and I have it labeled. On mine, I have it labeled on the back. But this way I can take a whole piece of paper and I can set it down next to those colors and see. So this is a perfect match for the RV6, RV4. It's not a good match for this color. This is more of a coral color. So I wouldn't have a marker, or I wouldn't have a piece of paper from Simon that did that. And that's kind of why I have a lot of different papers. So let's go with Paper Tray Ink. One of the companies I love best for papers, and I can tell you that I do use this color quite often when I'm using this particular set, right? I kind of like it. And then if I wanted to go a little bit lighter, I'm trying to see, is it on here? This one right here with Paper Tray Ink also would be very good for that RV. But you can see that I can go in and do this. Now, I'm just becoming a purple person, guys. Purple has not been my go-to, but I would use, you know, any of those right there would look super good with the purples. But it's really good to have a chunk of paper instead of having to pull out your paper. So in my arsenal of paper, I have Paper Tray Ink, Simon Says Stamp, which was the first company I fell in love with. And then followed by My Favorite Things. I kind of went to Paper Tray Ink because it was really hard to get the paper from My Favorite Things. And everything that I have here is what I have in stock in my crafty room. So if I run out of stock, or if I decide I'm not going to use that color anymore, I take it off my ring. Gina K, I absolutely love her paper as well, so I keep some of her paper in here. And again, just colors that I really adore. I think we all do. Tranquil Teal is one of my favorite colors, and right here is where I would go with that. So you can see how this is just so easy. Also, it's very easy to do it in with your pattern paper, right? To find a couple of colors that are going to match your pattern paper. Just do it the same way. It's a lot easier if you have these samples, and that's part of storing or getting your craft room ready to start crafting. It's what makes it easier. The Lawn Fawn papers, I don't have all of. She's got a couple of new papers she released recently that I don't have yet, and that's because I just haven't purchased them yet. I purchased stamps recently, but again, one of my favorites in her papers is this one, this little fall color, and I love it for pumpkins and stuff. Just love it so much. And that's how I would find a paper or a card base if I were doing colored card bases to find that. So highly recommend that you get yourself a little, you can get these at any little store. I think the Dollar Tree even has them. And get yourself a little punch, and I just made all mine the same size. Okay, so that's how I did that. So for what I grab for on a normal basis, or what I would pull out, I've got my Copics, and I've got that 2 different ways. And then I've got the Ohuhu markers. Now I bought these, I guess about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or something. I just wanted to test them out with the Copics when they came out with the pastel colors. I thought these pastels were going to be super light. They really aren't that light, as you can see. They're really not that light. But they do mix very well, and they do have some cool combos of colors that I kind of like. So I'll pull from this every once in a while. All right, here's that Catherine Puller part that I was showing you guys. So on my swatches for my Catherine Puller or for my inks, I prefer to have it on a ink sheet or on a paper. Again, it makes it easier for me to come up with the color I want and to pick a color that is going to look good on my swatches, you know. So I have the whole collection of the minis on here, and I just actually found the other day, I was looking for it. I wish I had left it out on my desk. I found a match for Tutti Frutti, which is an orange kind of red. I think it was probably paper tray ink. Is it this one? Who is this? Gina K maybe? The Gina K. I thought that was really pretty. And you can see how easy it is just to go through and see what you have and see how well it'll match, whether it's a darker shade or a lighter shade. You know, you can't go wrong with having these swatches. So that's mostly what I wanted to show you here. But then I thought I would also just flip through and see all the colors, which had also been mentioned in an email. So this is the foundations and the life of the party. Spring Fling and Carnival. These two are mixed. I do that often. I thought Be Mine was going to be this red color. It's a pink color. I don't know what my brain was thinking. But super pretty colors. I love Catherine Puller ink. I love it. Absolutely love it. Date Night and Luxe. Again, I do not have these in rainbow order. I have them in the order that they came in their little boxes. This one got messed up. Paradise Found and Zen Garden. This is actually pink champagne. And again, this is a gorgeous color, and this color matches up with a Lawn Fawn color as well. I love some of Lawn Fawn's color. Guava. This one looks really good with guava. Do you see that? So pretty, and that's polished. And then this one is the Urban Oasis and Beach Retreat. These colors are gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a gray. This one is kind of like a gray lilac. So pretty, right? So, so pretty. I love that one. I'm trying to see. I know I have a color in here that will go with that as well. This one's too purple. What's this one? Wisteria. You could do wisteria with that though, isn't it pretty? Yeah, I think I've got one that's even a little better than that though. I just don't remember what it is. I think the wisteria would be really good with that though, to be honest. That might be my closest. You could do the same thing with your cardstock that you get from Michael's. See, that's too purple. But this one has got, Wisteria has a little, Winter Wisteria has a little bit of gray to it. I think those are very pretty together. All right, let's go back. And this is the Apothecary, which is the newest one. And I use the same stamp set for each of my inks over and over again. Now, I do not have the grays or the browns, the neutral colors. I don't. I bought the brown and the midnight separately. So one day I am going to bring those into the mix. I just mostly wanted a set of colored inks. And then, so that's for my regular inks. And then I also do my Distress Oxide inks and my Distress inks, and I do them the same way. Again, this one I use a little square stamp. I stamp them out. I do it with water as well, so I can see what it's going to look like if I'm dipping water into it to see. And again, I will take this same thing and I will match it up to my cardstock to see what's going to go good with that Distress background. And then my Distress inks the same way. And I do it the same way. I do a drop of water on each one just to see how it's going to look. And when you have something that's like this and this big, and you've got your cardstock cut out, it's very easy for you to come in and match up your cardstock. So I highly recommend you doing it this way. It saves you so much time. My Fiber Castels, I've got the 60, and I do the same thing. Exact same thing. I color it out. I do it a little bit darker, a little bit lighter. Again, the pencils and the watercolor can be different because a lot of times you are adding numerous colors, right? Like I would very seldom use one color when I'm coloring a flower or coloring a person or whatever I'm coloring. So it makes it a little harder to match that with your cardstock until you're finished. So you finish your project and bring it to your cardstock or your pattern paper, right? But this is how I have done my Faber-Castell polychromos to swatch them out. Again, it wouldn't be me with that one mistake. It just wouldn't. And then my Prismacolor 150, and I've done it the same way. And again, you'll notice that one mistake because it wouldn't be me. And again, with the Prismacolors, it would be the same way. I would wait till I'm finished coloring or whatever I'm coloring and then bring in, you know, whichever paper I think I'm going to use or paper pad and then try to match it up because we're always layering the pencils. And that is how I do my swatches. I do the same thing for my watercolors. And then, like I said, I will either put them in that 3-ring binder or I will hang them. Right now they are hanging on my pegboard because I'm getting ready to do some work. And I haven't quite made up my mind what I'm going to be doing yet. So there are certain things I'm going to be, one of the things I know I'm working on tomorrow is stamping solid color flowers. So I know for sure this will be hanging up on the pegboards, and then always my 2 marker selections will be hanging up on my pegboard right above me so I can see it. It's also right above my Copic markers so that it's right there and I can glance and hold my Copic up, you know, hold my whatever up or grab the Copic real quick so that I can find it. You know, like if I know this is the color I want, I can go down and find it and see what might go good with it, you know. So I highly recommend, if you are just starting out or not, that you have your swatches and have them readily available. When you get ready, pull it out, and that's going to help you along your way. I hope this answered your questions. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Saturday, and I will be posting a couple of videos on the work I'm doing this weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.